and welcome back to Questing Mayhem. In the previous episode, I made two fluid tanks, one to complete the quest, and the other because two are needed in an upcoming recipe for Industrial Revolution. Since that episode, I have also made a third fluid tank. This third fluid tank is because, of course, two are going to be used in the recipe for the upcoming Industrial Revolution quest, and then another is going to be used in an upcoming storage quest. So let's go ahead and use these now. The first one is in storage, and it is the Pressurized fluid tank. Another tank. Pressurized fluid tank. Same exact tank as the one previous, but it's pressurized. I don't know. Yeah, so for the past 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 quests, it's just been tanks. And so it's tank, another tank, really? Another tank? That's where the naming scheme came from. The pressurized fluid tank is dark iron bars plus dark steel. Dark iron bars come from dark steel as well, so we're going to need a little bit of dark steel, which of course comes from steel plus pulverized obsidian. Luckily we have, at least a little bit of pulverized obsidian. I think I did have some left over from when I was making more Derium. Did I use up all of it? I guess I used up all of it. My mistake. Then that's fine because we can simply get a bucket and get some more obsidian. Should not be a problem. Just like so. And we have one obsidian block. This can be pulverized into, I do believe, 4 obsidian powder. And that should be enough to get us that it should be enough to get us 1 dark steel. We're going to need a lot more dark steel than that. But perhaps a simpler recipe would be the vat, which requires 2 fluid tanks, not the pressurized versions. And so this also requires a furnace, which is easy. Machine chassis, not sure if this is the first one we've had to make, maybe. Machine chassis is basic capacitor, which is gold, some copper, some tin, and some redstone. Very simple recipe. Also chassis plates, which is just more iron, a lot of iron in this. Then fluid tanks we have. Cauldron is a little bit changed. It's not too bad though. It's just iron plus a wooden water tank, which is just wood. Very simple. My god. I need to get pressure plates. Next, in the vat recipe, is electrical steel. And electrical steel is just steel plus silicon. So let's make sure we have enough steel because it looks like we're going to be needing a lot. We have this steel, plus we have all of the steel. I think we should be fine. I'm going to start making some electrical steel, assuming we don't have any electrical steel. Actually, let me double check that. Not seeing much. Well, we have this electrical steel. Okay, good to know. So that will cover us for now. Good. Didn't need to make any electrical steel after all, which I guess is good. Next, so we can go with the 2 fluid tanks there, like so. We need a furnace, a cauldron, and a machine chassis. So let's make the machine chassis. Basic capacitor is copper, redstone, gold ingot, gold nuggets, and tin nuggets. Very simple, I do believe. And it'll give us a use for these tin nuggets. We also need a bit of redstone, I think 2, right? Yeah. And some gold. Do we have any gold nuggets laying around? I feel like we should, because we get gold nuggets from the farm. But if not, that's fine. We can make gold nuggets just like that. And of course, 1 copper ingot. This will make the first of many. Let me just get rid of this, because that's not the first time today I've done that. This will be the first of many basic capacitors. Basic capacitors are essentially a crafting ingredient used in the smithing recipes, and some of those are just other crafting ingredients. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of what am I trying to say? A lot of basic capacitors in the near future. And of course, they are used to making the machine chassis, which is arguably used in the most things, which is why you need to make so many of them. So like this or inverse? It's like that. Good. Except we need more iron. Which we have, luckily, but could have more, not gonna lie. And that is more than enough. Now, where did I put that capacitor? I literally just had it. Basic capacitor. It's still in the thing. Wait. Machine chassis complete. We are very close to open. And next is just the furnace. Easy enough. We may even have one laying around. Doesn't look like we do though, but that's fine. Let's take jungle wood. Let's take like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yep. Make a furnace. Back to day 1. And the cauldron should be very simple, just another wooden water tank. You may have to use. What's confusing me about this is, okay, you can use any wooden water tank that's cycling around. That's good. Okay. But for instance, I'm going to try a jungle wooden water tank. Notice that this is a different item than the barrels, although very similar in design and very similar in recipe. The barrels replace this one bottom plank with a slab. These wooden water tanks, as you may expect, are able to hold, just for the sake of example. Well, that's a bad example. Never mind. I thought they were able to hold water. I mean, they are. Okay, I guess that one just didn't register. I don't know. They can hold water, they're essentially a tank, but a kind of ugly one. And, yeah. And if you think about it, the cauldron, which I'm going to make now, is essentially just a vanilla tank, right? It holds water. And this essentially just holds water, right? But in my opinion, the cauldron is better at its job than the wooden water tank. But also tanks are better at their job than the cauldron, so there's kind of an upgrade to that. Which is why I put the wooden water tank in the recipe for the cauldron. So the vat is now complete. This will be used to brew into fluids. So it's essentially a different type of brew. It's a machine that combines fluids together. And it gives us 16 iron ingots and a choice of mushrooms, redstone, or blaze rods. I think I'm going to have to go with the blaze rods on this one. I mean, it's less blazes to kill. So I need to connect this to power for now. This has always been an issue, hasn't it? I guess I will connect it here. That should be fine. Yeah, that works. Okay. Except, yeah, this is a little bit weird because it has two inputs. Or no, wait, no, it doesn't. It has a fluid input and an item input, and then you can possibly get an item out and a liquid out. No, actually, I'm remembering my vague. I don't know much about this, but I think we actually have to put, for instance, to get cloud seed, we need to put ice, clay, and water in the vat. And to get liquid sunshine, we'll need to put sunflowers, and glowstone, and fire water. All of those liquids are going to be very useful in the future as well. Just FYI. So we have 4 pulverized obsidian, need a lot more than that. How much obsidian do we have right now? Just, and okay, so we're going to need, oh my god, so much. Which kind of sucks, but that's fine. Now that that is complete, it unlocks the crafter. Now you can really get into a joy of modded Minecraft. With a crafter, you can set up a recipe in it, and it will automatically craft the recipe when it has provided the needed materials for the recipe as well as power. There's several other blocks that can automatically craft like this as well, but this is a good introduction to automatic crafting, so this is really exciting. The crafter will allow us to essentially always have a very complex, it's actually just called crafter. It will essentially allow us to always have a very complex recipe on hand. For instance, we could always, if we tell it to, it could always make what's something we really need, and that's crafted. It could always make, I don't know, buckets. We could set the recipe for buckets in it, and we would have to pipe in iron into it as well, and power it obviously, but once it has all that iron, it'll just use all of that iron as fast as it can, as much as it can, to make buckets. So it's a really good way of, getting, if you have items that you really need or want, but they maybe take a little bit of time or a little bit of effort to craft, you can get them rather easily with the crafter. And it's also not an expensive recipe. It is just a machine chassis. I told you we'd be seeing that again. Z logic controller and iron ingots and a crafting table. Z logic controller is by far the hardest. It's going to require a zombie head, silicon, redstone, and solarium. Can't remember if we have solarium. We do. Because I think we made it once upon a time. But we also need a zombie head. That's definitely the biggest part of that. We have 4, luckily, which is good. So we can, in total, make 4 crafters if we want to. These crafters are also used in recipes for future other crafters. So we're going to be needing a lot of zombie heads. So we're going to be needing to kill a lot of zombies. So maybe a mob bomb, or maybe automatic mob bomb, other quests coming into play here, will be useful later down the line. But for now, we just need to make 1. And that just requires silicon and redstone. Very simple if you ask me. And once again, this is made in the Slice and Splice, a machine that isn't used that much because essentially it's only used to make like 2 things, and those things aren't necessarily the most common in recipes. But when it does have its uses, and the uses for it are very cool. For instance, making the Z logic controller, which is used in a selective few really cool and useful recipes. So how is pulverized obsidian going? It could be going better, but that's fine. We have enough for 8 now. 8 dark steel, which is good. So let me get 8 steel, and we can start combining that in the alloy smelter. Like so. Once we get all this out of the way. Or not. What's the recipe for duck steel again? Duck steel is steel plus obsidian powder. Oh, but we could also, right, in the alloy smelter, you have to use iron instead. Well, shoot. Good to know. Let me, well, all the obsidian has already been pulverized, so we have some pulverized obsidian now for future use. Is this? Oh, I have this set on extract. That was dumb of me. My mistake. So we haven't been making lava at all, or making obsidian at all, over these past few minutes. Good to know. Well, let's just let that run in the background, I suppose. And meanwhile, I can get started on the crafting. Or at least continue. So we're making this logic controller. We can make a simple crafting table, very easy. We need some iron, like so. We have iron in our inventory already. Okay, now this machine chassis once again is going to require a lot of iron, but that's fine. Redstone, gold ingots, copper, tin ingots, tin nuggets. My mistake. 1, 2. Then copper, gold. Oh, there's the gold nuggets. Didn't see this before. And finally, 2 redstone. Now, this is actually a very similar recipe to what is default, and I do believe this is an Ender.io item. Yeah. Except, the recipe normally calls for redstone, gold ingots, gold nuggets, and copper ingots. I added the tin nuggets because I didn't feel like, especially at the time of making the recipe, there was not much of a use for tin. So I went ahead and added tin to the recipe just to give it that bit more of a use. Anyway, we should have some vents now, or iron bars in our inventory. We need, no, wait, no, what am I doing? It's the other way around, of course. So we need that 6, we're gonna need 3 crafts for that. Perfect. And now we have our second machine chassis, which goes right here, along with the, where'd that go? Oh my god, it's in my inventory. Great, of course it is. The logic controller, which is right here. Crafter, quest complete. We get a choice of a reward bag. I'm choosing the left one. It's an epic reward bag, and we get a magmatic floor of molten tin. I guess that's useful considering where are the magmatic floors? I don't know. Since we used a little bit of tin, and we won't complain, miscellaneous for now. Okay, let's hook this up to power. I'd really like to make full use of this crafter, right? So I'm thinking, and right now we just have a wall of machines, which maybe is not ideal, especially when we get into larger automations. I'm thinking about putting it right here because we can easily pipe out into a chest, and so that the inventory issue won't necessarily be an issue. And there should be wiring like right there, so let me grab a pipe. we have? Yeah, 100 bucks done. Good. And of course, this is still completely full. We're getting really close to emptying the drum though, which is nice. Just gonna take such a long time. Are you getting power? No, you don't. So that means I can get rid of this. Yeah. So actually, we can just go right here. Yeah. That'll look. So crafter goes here. License place goes there. Crafter's getting power, which is awesome. So I've thought long and hard about what the best use of the crafter could be right now. The problem is, we are going to be needing a lot of resources and a lot of different microcrafting things in the near future, especially when we get back into Pipes and Power Plus, which we're planning to do soon. But it was hard finding an item that we had a lot of. We had a lot of the ingredients for, like, on demand. Where, like, I don't mind spending possible stacks of those items right now. And an item that we would actually need stacks of those items for. I eventually decided on the basic capacitor. This item is used in many recipes. All of this, for example. Plus, it's used in the machine chassis recipe, which is used in even more items. And keep in mind, for instance, we're going to be making more than one alloy smelter. We're going to be making more than one travel ingot, etc. So I think having many basic capacitors will be very, very useful. Granted, I know you can grow basic capacitors with capacitor seeds, and that recipe isn't too bad. However, the basic capacitor bank recipe is fairly expensive. And many of the recipes I was thinking about aren't 9x9 crafting. They're like, oh yeah, well, we need a lot of Enderium, but there's no good way to craft that in a 9x9 crafting kit. Well, sure, you can combine the pulverized blend, but then you need to smelt that anyway, so you need to extract into a furnace, and plus where do you get the pulverized blend from? I wanted this to be a very simple use for now. There's going to be a lot more uses with the crafter later on down the line. And to be honest, it's not going to be our final form of autocrafting, the molecular assembler, as that complete, but keep in mind, the molecular assembler requires a crafted tier 3 from our tools, which requires many other things, one of which are 2 crafters per recipe. So we're going to be making a lot of them anyway. You see now, remember that each of those crafters has a basic capacitor in it. So you see now why basic capacitors are going to be used a lot. Anyway, let's take some item conduit, and let's stop piping in to the crafter. I want 1 chest there, 1 chest here. And this be like that. Let me get rid of the crafter for a second. Extract always active. We can put the crafter down. Tell it to specifically pull, so items go in there. And let's see if I can sneak in and set that item conduit to insert. Doesn't look like it can necessarily, which sucks. Like that. Insert, there we go. Okay. Now we also want to move this down a little bit. add an item conduit here, tell this to push, tell this to extract on always active, and finally tell this to insert. I know that I could simplify this a little bit more with like just have the chest right here and tell this block to pull from that chest, because it can do that. It essentially has built-in piping already in it. But I find that that built-in piping from Under.io is a little bit slow. I prefer to use the actual item conduits. I find it a lot faster. Or maybe it's just me. Maybe that's not true. I don't know. Take that with a pinch of salt. So for basic capacitor autocrafting, we're going to need, of course, copper, gold, redstone. What are the other things? Tin. So let me grab like that much tin, sure. And going to need like half of that. Yeah. You go back in there. Also, you go back in there. And we're going to need redstone. Now the problem is, of course, that once we put these items in, they're already supplied, and essentially we have like it's going to be like probably more than half a stack of basic capacitors already. So we're going to be set on basic capacitors for a while. So why set up the automation for this when we have like 60 basic capacitors? Not going to be using those basic capacitors for a while, because we're not going to be using like 50 every episode. And that's the problem with autocrafting, because especially right now, and I can't open this, of course I can't. Is that, yeah, that's true. And that's part of the reason I was having trouble figuring out how should I make this autocrafting thing work. Yeah. It does appear a little bit of a possible boy that, oh, okay. So it does it shapeless. Interesting. I didn't know that. I thought it would sort the items in this pattern like I told it to, but no, it just knows that, okay, use 4 gold nuggets, use 2 redstone, just put it anyway. It's really interesting. So we have 14 basic capacitors. I'm not planning to do much with Industrial Revolution in the coming episodes. That's kind of a lie, but I'm not planning to like make many things that are going to require those basic capacitors in a while. Like, so 14 basic capacitors will probably last me a very good few episodes. So why autocraft them again? The issue again. But when I do need those, I'll have that set up ready to go. And it'll just kind of be a background process. It'll be a little bit less time of me just manually crafting it when I need more basic capacitors. That's the reasoning behind it. To finish up this episode, let's go back to, where was it? Storage. And complete the pressurized fluid tank. We have 12 dark steel. Going to need a little bit more than that, I'm afraid. Let me get some more iron. Dark steel cooks very slowly, unfortunately. But that's okay. So let's take this iron, add that to the pile, and we'll see where this dark steel gets us. Maybe it'll get us far, I don't know. Actually, this may be enough even. I'm thinking about the recipe. It may be. We will see. Dark iron bars get. Remember, these require specifically dark iron bars. We can't use just normal iron bars. What are we even making? Making the pressurized fluid tank. Right. Yeah, this will be more than enough. We need the other fluid tank, which we have in our inventory. Good. let me actually unconfigure that, because it still says configured, so that may cause some issues with MBT. So just putting it in a crafting table will get rid of that MBT. Add the dark iron bars, add the dark steel, and we have a pressurized flute tank, which is now blast resistant. The other flute tank was not blast resistant. Quest complete. And so now we have an ender tank, a mod, and a chest for fluids. We can do that now if we want. It has its uses, don't really have a use for it right now. I mainly wanted to get to another tank because I knew it was blocking out some parts of Industrial Revolution, so I wanted to complete that. But I think we're going to take a break from storage for the moment, because past few episodes have been very focused on storage. Just like probably less than 10 episodes ago, we were just here. Now we're all the way over here. So you know. Pressurized fluid tank, don't really have a use for it now because I'm not really using it. I already have so many tanks, but we're going to put you there. And I think that's where I'm going to end this episode. Thank you for watching this video.